On NewsHour tonight, Rivers marks end of emergency rule with Thanksgiving. Floods ravage Kaduna, hundreds displaced. Road collapse in Katsina deepens insecurity, drives up food prices. On the foreign scene, over 100 dead in whaleboat disaster in Congo River tragedy. Good evening, this is NewsHour on Trust TV. I am Chiamaka Mwafo. In Rivers State, the Administrator, Vice Admiral Ibok Etta Ibas, retired, has begun formal transition activities ahead of the return to democratic governance 6 months after President Bola Tinubu declared a state of emergency in the state. The process will commence on Sunday, September 14, 2025, with an interdenominational Thanksgiving service at the Ecumenical Center, Obonima Wharf Road, Port Harcourt. According to a statement by the Secretary to the State Government, Loki Warika, the service, scheduled to hold at the Ecumenical in Port Harcourt, is expected to draw permanent secretaries, local government chairmen, security chiefs, traditional rulers, captains of industries, and other invited dignitaries. On Friday, the administrator, while receiving the report of the August 30 local government election, declared that the presidential mandate given to him on March 18 had been fulfilled.
You also recall that Mr. President's mandate to me on the 18th of March 2025 was to stabilize and create an enabling environment in the state to ensure the re-establishment of state institutions and to return the state back to democratic governance. Of course, which meant that we had to have a local government administration in place. And so, with the successful conduct and subsequent swearing in of the local government chairman and their councils, I want to believe that we have achieved the mandate that we were given. And so that also prepares the way for us to return the state to those who were elected to govern. Let me, on behalf of the people and government of Rivers State, commend RISEC, the chairman and the members of the committee, and all of the management of RISEC for a job well done.
Now joining us via phone call to dissect this is the Director General of Good Governance Advocacy International, Sir Leonard Ayongo. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on NewsHour tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's start off with the return is imminent to democracy, starting with the Thanksgiving on Sunday. But before that return, what do you think are the key takeaways from this experience, this 6 months of will I call it administrative rule, and what does that mean equally for the Nigerian democracy?
Well, Mr. President, President Tinubu, acting under Section 305 of the Nigerian Constitution, declared a state of emergency and installed a sole administrator. But the takeaway is that there have been a lot of controversies whether Mr. President has the constitutional power to remove a sitting governor and or remove or suspend a sitting governor and the state legislature. But unfortunately, we're not given the opportunity because some of these matters were filed at the Supreme Court. And as a constitutional lawyer, I was looking forward to seeing a ruling on that application to the Supreme Court. So that for once, we will now be aware that when a state of emergency is declared, Mr. President, it's either that we will not know whether he has power or not to declare, to remove an elected governor or not. But unfortunately, up to the moment as we speak, the Supreme Court didn't take that application. So that is just one side of it. So that controversy is not rested. But what is uncontroverted is that by the virtue of Section 305, Mr. President can declare a state of emergency either in the whole country or part thereof. But just like I said, the other part is whether he has the power to remove an elected governor or not. So since there's no constitutional, there's no judicial pronouncement on it, especially at the Supreme Court. Now, you also recall that the Nigerian Bar Association, as a body, has strongly condemned the removal or the suspension of Governor Fubara, and the bar conference that was supposed to be held in Port Harcourt was moved to Enugu. It shows that Nigerians were not united or were not in agreement to the suspension of Governor Fubara and the state legislature. So, but when you look at it, other side of the coin, the democracy is now being democratic governance is now being restored. Expectedly on the 18th of September, when the 6-month initial suspension will have elapsed. So that is just a tidbit of what we can discuss at this stage.
Okay, so I'm going to just point out some of the things you said in your answer. Let's go back a bit. Now, you saying the Supreme Court has not given a ruling. Peradventure, in the near future, or somehow, there's a ruling that comes up about this situation. Would it in any way impact what has happened in Rivers State? That's
well, it will. Yeah, it's going to become an exercise in futility. Just like I said, as also an active legal practitioner, I believe or we expected that we will have the opportunity of the ruling on that subject matter by the Supreme Court, which didn't materialize until this suspension period is now almost over. So if there's a ruling that Mr. President does not have the power to remove a sitting governor despite the state of emergency declared, then of course it will be an exercise. It will become an academic exercise because the Solar Administration has acted within this period, this 6-month period. So if you go ahead to say, okay, you declare that it was null and void, but the actions have been taken, and then of course there's no vacuum in governance. So we seriously believe, I still advocate that the Supreme Court should have opportunity on ruling or taking on some of these matters, especially this controversial issue whether Mr. President has the power to remove a sitting governor or suspend the state assembly. So we expect that we are going to get a definite ruling at the Supreme Court one way or the other in future. Okay.
Now, another question again. The 6 months period, first 6 months trial period is over. Do you believe that the reason for the state of emergency being called has been resolved and the things that were hoped to be fixed has been fixed to now return back to democratic rule?
Well, the reason that was given by Mr. President when he declared the state of emergency was that there was anarchy. Remember that there were some bombings of pipeline and all that. Of course, that directly threatened the Nigerian economic position.
Yeah.
So, but some people will disagree that people were not being killed. There were even more insecurity in other states compared to Rivers State and all that. So, if you look at it from the political angle, you argue the way you argue. But if you look at it from the legal perspective, does Mr. President have the right to declare a state of emergency by virtue of Section 305? Yes. Of course, that has to be affirmed by the National Assembly, which they did. So, if you look at it legally speaking, those procedures were followed. But politically speaking, of course, let me speak as the DG Good Governance Advocacy International. Now, the question is that is democratic dividend being delivered by the governors of Rivers State? The truth about it is that because of the kind of controversies that were ongoing between the State Assembly and the Governor Fubara, there were complete aberrations where 4 members to pass budget and all that. Of course, remember that the Supreme Court also declared the actions of Governor Fubara null and void. So those controversies erupted, and then of course the Supreme Court even went further to say the elections that brought the then local government chairman were null and void. So at that point, you cannot say they were governance, effective governance. And that's why we say that Nigeria says after politics comes governance. Because politics is just a vehicle. The destination must be good governance. And that's where we are quite interested.
Okay. All right. Our final question. Since you brought the governor, what do we expect of Fubara? What do we expect? Are we going to see, compared to who he was before this whole situation, what are we expecting from Governor Similayo Fubara going forward?
permit me to be political at this point a bit, because someone told me that Fubara has been politically beaten. That's in quote. That means that he has learned a lot of lessons. We expect, just like I said, we expect good governance in Rivers State. We expect the collaboration, not subjection, not subjugation, rather, between the state assembly and the executive arm of government. You know, these are clear-cut demarcation of roles that are being played by the different arms of government. And so we expect that they will work in unity to deliver good governance in Rivers State. That is our yearning. That is the yearning of the state. That is the yearning of the nation, and of course the global community. They want to see good governance being delivered in the state. And the right atmosphere is to have that mutual respect, checks and balances, as enshrined in the constitution, where the state assembly has a clear cut role to oversight the executive, and the executive has to implement budgets and laws that are being passed by the state assembly. It's all for good. It's all for the good of the people of Rivers State.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Sir Leonard Ayango, for joining us from Good Governance Advocacy International, sharing your insights on the situation in Rivers State.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Moving away from that, hundreds of houses have been submerged by floods across communities in Kaduna metropolis and its environs. Residents who fled for safety say the disaster destroyed properties and left them homeless. Trust TV's Bello Musa visited some affected communities, reports that many residents are now seeking shelter in neighboring areas. The report.
At Rafinguza, in Kaduna North local government, the flood submerged farmlands, destroying crops. Despite the rising water level in River Kaduna, riverine communities have no option but to use local canoes to access the city. Canoe paddlers say they are observing safety measures to prevent accidents. As canoe paddlers, we use life jacket to ensure the safety of passengers in case of an accident. We have reduced the number of people we convey on board because of the high water level. What was once dry land is now completely submerged. On Kigo Road, residents helplessly watch as flood waters submerge their homes, with many saying they have been forced to sleep outside due to the rising water levels.
Now yesterday, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So like play, you go, you know go now around 1 o'clock now in the thing can start. That one come out, he jam for this one. So this morning, Kuma, now so we see with our water, our kaya don't soak for water. Now here we sleep. We don't know where we go sleep again. See here, Kuma again, water don't cover up. You don't damage property. So our property man dey inside water for inside room.
Disease is everywhere. Our kids did not sleep since day before yesterday. Our house are filled up with full water. This thing that I was telling you guys, and nobody to rescue us, nobody to help us, no 15 naira, nothing. And this is the real water now, and the landlords keep on increasing money. Like thousands of people are not in their houses now. People, they don't even have food to eat, nowhere to go.
Yesterday by 2 o'clock, my brother called me in the afternoon that the water started rising. That is even entering our house. So I had to come back that yesterday by 2 to see the water. As I saw it, the water hasn't got to this extent. It was close to the entrance of our compound. But all of a sudden, in the midnight, we stayed. The thing was rising, gradually. So in the midnight, by 2 o'clock, the water now entered our house. It entered, and the water even destroyed a lot of things.
At Tidumwada, the flood submerged parts of the cemetery and farmlands, destroying more crops. The flood started about a week ago, submerging 8 houses. Although the water level initially reduced, it later rose again, now submerging 16 houses and destroying several properties. Residents here are in dire need of help, as many families have been displaced. We are appealing to the government to dredge the river to prevent a recurrence in the future. The worsening situation reflects the humanitarian crisis at hand, as more people are displaced daily.
The situation is very disastrous. The flooding has come to an epic whereby it has destroyed livelihood of the community in this location.
Authorities had earlier warned residents, especially those living close to flood-prone areas, to vacate. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Over in Lagos State, demolition of homes in Omoroshoki has pushed families into homelessness and deepened the humanitarian crisis. Residents accuse local authorities and traditional rulers of acting without due process, leaving communities torn apart. Here's more in this report.
For many victims, the demolitions means not just the loss of property, but the collapse of the entire way of life.
If truly they have given us 3 years, at least if you place an abatement on a wall of a house, you will take the picture of the abatement and the house. In case if the owner of the house say they did not see the abatement, that will stand as a pictorial evidence. But nothing like that happened. The only thing they said, we should apply for building approval. That was what they told us in Lobska, only for us to see what they did in the midnight. Not even, they did not disconnect the lights. The light was on all through.
Aderonke Adejo, a government worker with over 30 years of service, says she lost everything overnight. With no abatement notice given, her house was brought down. She now lives in an uncompleted building, while her children sleep outside in the open.
I have invested with my 30 years in ministry, nothing again, nothing. Please, Nigeria should come to our aids. This thing is getting out of hand. People are sleeping in uncompleted building for now. This is too much. It's too much. Children are sleeping outside. Please, Nigeria should come to our aids. Please, please.
The Baale of Idiaraba, Chief Olorunwa Emmanuel, accused the Oba of Omoroshoki, Oba Babatunde Saliu, of fueling land disputes and demolitions that have displaced multiple families.
I can make government to come and demolish here. There's nothing bad that happened. I think we have different NGOs which normally came to our community to assist us. We pay land use. We pay unnecessary money that government require. So when they know that here is accusation, why are they taking land use from us? Why are they taking land use from us? Land use is from Lagos State government. Why are they giving us land use?
For Samuel Asaba, the pain is long-lasting. Since his home was demolished in 2023, he has been squatting with another family. Once a landlord, he now struggles with the emotional and psychological weight of losing his home and identity.
Right, so I'm one of the victims of the demolition. Fast forward to now, the place I'm staying, I'm squatting with the person who actually helped to build the place, being that my property is demolished already. All right, and fending, it has not been easy since that incident of 2023 up till now. All right, and what do I want to happen right now? We don't actually want anything. We want our freedom. We want our freedom.
Behind the statistics a human story of despair, children without shelter, breadwinners stripped of dignity, and family forced into displacement. Owoloshunki residents says their demand is simple: recognition of their land rights, and an end to harassment, and a chance to rebuild their lives.
Still in Lagos State, one person has been confirmed dead following the collapse of a 3-story building at Alagomeji in the Yaba area of Lagos State. The National Emergency Management Agency, in its Day 2 incident report on Saturday, said the body of a male victim was recovered from the rubble during ongoing search and rescue operations. An earlier report indicated that 4 people had been rescued alive from the structure, which caved in at about 7:46 p.m. In a subsequent update, the agency confirmed that 1 body had been retrieved from the debris, even as efforts continue to ensure that no one is left trapped. Meanwhile, the Lagos State Fire Service reported that 8 construction workers had been rescued from the site of the collapsed building. The poor state of the 175-kilometer Dandume-Funto-Malabafoshi-Gidamutumdaya road is heightening security risk, increasing food prices, and undermining food production in the northwest region. The federal road is a major highway linking thousands of communities and serving as a key route for transporting agricultural produce across the country. Despite its social and economic importance, the road has been neglected by successive administrations, leaving residents and road users to suffer the consequences. Trust TV's Abdullah Yamadi reports from Katsina.
For more than 2 decades, this road has remained in a deplorable condition. It links Katsina with Kano State through Gozo, as well as Zaria and Birnangwari in Kaduna State and Gusau in Zamfara. The pothole-riddled stretch has caused extensive damage to vehicles, disrupted trade, and slowed development across the region. The worst portions are between Dandumi, Funtua, Bakori, Malumfashi, and Dai, areas many motorists now describe as death traps. The road's poor state undermines agricultural production, weakens emergency response, and leaves commuters vulnerable to insecurity in the Funtua zone.
Now, if you want to go to Bakori, look at how the road is scattered. You cannot even speed of 40. You cannot speed up to 40 in your car. Up to Mararabang, up to Dei, and nobody. There is no security in the night. There is nobody, and nobody can come out in that very night because of the bad roads. The bad roads are increasing insecurity. We are pleading with the government. They should come and rescue Katsina people, more especially from the senatorial zone.
The bad condition of this road has increased security risks. It's just past 2 p.m. now, but in another 1 hour, we must leave, or hoodlums could strike. Dozens of vehicles break down here daily. It is both risky and counterproductive. This road is very critical to people in the northwest. It connects almost all the states and covers key agricultural areas. There is an urgent need for its upgrade and rehabilitation. Similarly, traders dealing in agricultural produce say their businesses are suffering as the road threatens the free flow of goods across the area. They are appealing for urgent government intervention. Dandumi and Bakori are popular grains markets. Any setback here affects business across the region. The poor state of the road is already causing huge social and economic damage, worsened by insecurity ravaging the state. Many drivers have now abandoned the route altogether, saying it is unsafe and worsening the hardship of residents. From Dandime through Funtua to Malumfashi and Gidamutunda, heavy-duty trucks continue to worsen the road's condition daily. If rehabilitated, the highway could ease the movement of goods and services, reduce food prices, and improve emergency response in the insecurity-ridden Funtua zone. Road users and residents are therefore calling on the Tinubu-led federal government to prioritize the upgrade of the road to boost the economic viability of Katsina and the entire northwest region. Abdullahi Izma Yamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Scavenging and scrap metal trading have become a booming multi-billion naira industry in Nigeria. From refuse dumps in Kano to recycling plants run by foreign and local firms, thousands depend on the trade for survival. But behind the profits lies a story of controversy, security concerns, and tough government crackdowns. Abdulaziz Ibrahim reports.
Across Nigeria, scavenging and scrap metal trading have grown into a multi-billion naira industry. With the rising global demand for metals such as copper, lithium, and aluminium, the recycling sector is booming. In Kano, at the heart of this chain are thousands of scavengers, men and boys who comb refuse dumps and abandoned sites for scraps that fuel their trade. Scavengers are the first link in the value chain that stretches from the streets to the warehouses of middlemen and finally to massive recycling plants run by both foreign and local companies. I set out by 9 a.m. to collect scraps. 1 kilo of metal is bought for 400 naira, plastics for 250 naira, and cartons for 100 naira. There are many places around here where they buy these items. I work under my boss who goes out to buy the scraps from different places, so we arrange them and we weigh them here. For the dealers who buy in bulk and supply industries, they say the business is lucrative. Some say they move as much as 4 tons of metal per week, though many report a recent drop in prices.
Siyan batir, aluminium, copper, brass, tutiya.
We buy batteries, aluminium, copper, brass, and other metals brought here from various states. We are thankful to Allah that the business is good.
Now we are buying 1 kilo from 550 naira to 630 naira.
A major challenge is the falling prices. In the past, we bought above 600 to even 750 naira per kilo. But because of the way business is these days, the companies that buy from us have reduced their prices. In Kano, more foreign-owned recycling plants are springing up, but rising demand has also fueled a darker side of the business. Scavengers are alleged to be responsible for removing manhole covers and breaking into compounds in search of iron. They are also accused of taking advantage of chaos and unrest to loot metals, sometimes even in broad daylight. Yet many scavengers insist they are engaged in legitimate work which they argue shouldn't warrant the constant stops and harassment by NSCDC officials. For us scavengers trying to make an honest living without stealing, we face a lot of challenges from civil defense officials who stop us on the road when we move with our wares. In this market, we have various sections, those who collect metals with scales and those who sell used and even new motorcycle spare parts. So we don't relent in handing over anyone caught looting metals. These and other measures we put in place have worked for us. As authorities crack down on vandalism and the importation of scrap from insurgency-affected regions, the challenge remains balancing security concerns with the economic opportunities of this booming global market. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
In Anambra State, the Association of Resident Doctors, ARD, at the Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Chukwu University Teaching Hospital, Awka, in Anambra, has suspended its 7-day warning strike. This is contained in a statement signed by the ARD of the hospital president and secretary, Joy Okwomo and Chukwubuike Ifekodo, on Saturday in Awka. The resident doctors embarked on the warning strike on Thursday to press for better working conditions. The statement instructed members to resume their duties effective 8 a.m. on Saturday, as the government had approved their demands. The association reaffirmed its commitment to working with the hospital's chief medical director to implement approved decisions. The Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, in the Southeast Zone has urged the federal government to promptly address issues related to salary disparities and unpaid entitlements. It is also asking the government to pay attention to the underfunding of universities, warning that the continued neglect of agreements could lead to a total shutdown of the nation's university system. These demands were made on Thursday during a zonal workshop themed Strategies for Building Formidable Union Leadership, a Practicable Approach, which featured presentations on stress management and the evolving challenges of trade unionism. The council decried the imbalance in the disbursement of the 50 billion naira earned allowance, where 40 billion naira went to one union, while SANU, NASU and NAT shared only 10 billion naira. The union also rejected the reported recommendations of the NIMI Breaks Committee, which allegedly proposed a 100% to 10% salary increase ratio between ASU and other unions. You're still on to News Hour on Trust TV. After the break, economic hardship fuels rising street hawking in Lagos. So stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back, thank you for staying with us. Now a recap of our top stories. We told you that Rivers marks end of emergency rule with Thanksgiving. We also told you that floods ravaged Kaduna, hundreds displaced. Two more stories. Gunmen suspected to be armed bandits have attacked Kofoyama Matezu, killing a 70-year-old man simply identified as Alu Friday night. One person who sustained gunshot wounds and rushed to the hospital was later discharged on Saturday morning, according to eyewitnesses. The bandits targeted a residence they had abducted some young girls from about 2 years ago. According to reports, the bandits who sneaked into Kofoyama Matezu were seen by one of their victims, who raised alarm that attracted worshippers from a nearby mosque. Swift response from security personnel assisted greatly in reducing casualties from the attack. The armed men abducted two people who later escaped and returned home unhurt. Praising the determination of combined security forces who trailed the hoodlums and forced them to abandon their victims. When contacted, the police spokesperson in Katsina State, DSP Siddiqa Aliyu, said efforts are being intensified to track down the hoodlums. Our correspondent in the state, Abdullahi Yamadi, is joining us via phone call to give an update on the attack. Abdullahi Yamadi, good evening. Thank you for joining us on News Hour tonight.
Good evening, Chiamaka.
Can you tell us an update on what took place in Katsina?
Well, so far so good. The hoodlums have fled, and security forces deployed to Matazu, working around the clock to ensure that the town, that is Matazu town, the headquarters of Matazu local government area in Katsina State, is safe. And a few minutes before the news hour, we contacted some of our people there. What they are saying is the town is safe and everything is going normal without any panic among the local communities there. And the hoodlums that are terrorizing Matazu and other local communities, according to reports, are people that are well known by the residents. They are the local people there, local residents among the local communities that are there, that are terrorizing people. And during one of our reports, I think in the past 2 or 3 days, we made mention of some local communities that are being controlled by bandits, especially around Musawa, Matazu axis, and Musawa Molomfash axis. So I think these are the people that are terrorizing these local communities, and even as we speak, they are beginning to penetrate Matazu town, which is the headquarters of the local government.
Okay, now, so far, this issue has happened, recorded a few times. How are the people in these vicinities? How are they seeming to live? You know, how is communal life? How has this situation impacted them?
Well, it has impacted them negatively because these are the people that cannot engage in any social or economic life. They cannot do naming ceremonies, especially in local communities of Musawa and Matazu. There's nothing of social life that they can engage. They can't do wedding ceremonies, they can't do naming ceremonies. In fact, even burial ceremonies have to be done under the guard of security forces. So these are the people, they can't go to school, they can't go to markets, they can't worship, rather go to their worship places free. So the situation is very critical and a very difficult situation. Unless if this insecurity is reduced to the barest minimum, people in those communities could hardly do anything freely among themselves.
All right, thank you so much, Abdullah Yamadi, for the update on what's happening in Matazu.
Thank you so much, Chiamaka.
Moving on, troops of the 12th Brigade Nigerian Army under Operation Accord 3 in collaboration with other hybrid forces have killed another notorious bandit commander, Babangida Kachala, who was the second in command to Kachala Shoaibu, the leader of a gang operating within Masala Chiboka and Ufere forest areas of Kogi State. The development comes barely a week after troops recorded a similar fate, neutralizing another commander, Kachala Bala, alongside 5 of his gang members in a breakthrough against banditry in the state. Recall that the Nigerian Army killed notorious bandit leader Kachala Bala and 5 of his men in Kogi State. The operation took place on September 5th at a hideout near Tunga under Operation Igwa Atite 2. Troops also ambushed a bandit carrier at Agbede Adamko Bridge, seizing weapons and supplies. A statement issued on Saturday in Lokoja by the Acting Assistant Director, Army Public Relations 12th Brigade, Lieutenant Hassan Abdullahi, confirmed that the operation was carried out by troops under Operation Accord 3. The police and the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, have confirmed the rescue of 2 visually impaired students who have been reported missing from the Special Secondary School for the Blind in Opefia community in Izi local government area of Ebonyi State. The students were found in a good state of health and mind around Abubanike in Enugu State on September 11, where they were surviving, wandering the streets and soliciting for alms. Confirming the rescue on Saturday, a spokesperson in Ebonyi State Police Command, Joshua Okandu, said the rescue of the students who had been missing for 3 months was facilitated by a phone call to one of the parents. He added that they have been handed over to their parents. Meanwhile, the coordinator of the National Human Rights Commission in Ebonyi State, Christopher Okorie, disclosed that the rescued students, Augustine Omoyuriba, a 17-year-old male in JS3, and Lawrence Oyena Turuchuku, a 16-year-old female in SS1, were reportedly threatened by seniors at their school, which led to their disappearance since June 5, 2025. He expressed gratitude to the public and the press for their role in tracing and identifying the missing students. Every day, from the early hours of the morning until late at night, hawkers navigate through the streets of Lagos, between traffic lanes, markets and busy junctions, selling everything from bottled and sachet water to clothes, drinks, snacks, phone accessories, and more. While residents acknowledge the convenience they offer, helping to save time and the stress of traveling long distances to purchase goods, they point to poverty, economic hardship, and limited access to resources as factors that have pushed many individuals, children included, into street hawking as a means of livelihood. The report.
Lagos, Nigeria's economic hub is a bustling city with millions of residents, but not enough opportunities to go around. This lack of opportunity has driven many Lagosians into tough jobs just to survive, and one of the most common of these jobs is street hawking. These vendors, often young and determined, sell a wide range of goods on the streets, including food, snacks, herbal medicine, clothing, and phone accessories. But the question remains, why are there so many street hawkers in Lagos? And are people really patronizing them? One of the primary reasons behind the overwhelming number of street hawkers in Lagos is the country's high unemployment rates. Another contributing factor is the lack of adequate formal market spaces and infrastructure in Lagos. The shortage of market stores and the high cost of rent pushes many small business owners into hawking, where they can operate freely without the burden of shop rental fees. However, this comes with its own challenges such as safety risk, legal issues, and health concerns.
Road hawkers, they are lifesaver. Look at it now. We want to cook this morning. We don't have pepper at home. Instead of me going to the market to go and get the pepper, since he's nearby, I don't have choice than to buy from him. So he has saved me the stress of going to the market this morning like this.
Like now, I want to buy something, and the place I'm going maybe is far, and the shop that are selling, they cannot open. So maybe I need something that urgent. I'll say, okay, let me just rush and go and buy what I want. That is it, because shops that are not open on time, like 8 or 10, they are open.
Street hawkers, they are adding more value to the society and good value to the society. Before any other shops they open, the street hawkers, when any other people around wants to buy anything, street hawkers sells and they make good things to the society.
It's okay by me, and at the same time it's not okay by me because of the people of outside and people are not outside people too. Street hawker it help many people. Street hawker help many people because this time around there's no money outside, and at the same time it please many people. At the same time it does not please many people because many people like they should buy it inside their shop. They should go to the shop and buy it. And some people like they should buy it on the street. They should buy it cheap. Some people like cheap and some people like expensive things.
According to stakeholders, to tackle the issue of street hawking in Lagos, a multi-pronged approach is necessary. Initiatives focused on job creation and vocational skills training can help reduce the number of individuals relying on hawking as their only means of income. Additionally, developing accessible and affordable market spaces will provide hawkers with the opportunity to transition into more formal and safer trading environments.
Lawmakers from Kebbi State in the National Assembly have reassured citizens that the state remains one of the most peaceful in Nigeria, despite recent political tensions triggered by a petition from a former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the legislators described the claims as false and politically motivated, insisting that Kebbi remains one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria due to deliberate security measures and collaboration with agencies. The caucus accused Malami of instigating recent clashes in Birnin Kebbi, where thugs allegedly attacked the APC secretariat during his visit. They urged security agencies to demand evidence from him instead of being distracted by partisan narratives. Reaffirming support for Governor Idris and President Bola Tinubu's fight against insecurity, the lawmakers vowed to defend Kebbi's stability against attempts to create unrest.
We wish to categorically state that these allegations are false, unfounded, and politically motivated. They represent a desperate attempt by Mr. Malami, now leader of an imaginary opposition party in Kebbi State, to undermine the peace, progress, and stability that our people currently enjoy under the leadership of Governor Nasir Idris.
And we challenge him to produce evidence to you that there are, he said he has evidence, we challenge him to produce it, that our party is importing weapons. We are not a dangerous people. We do not support any dangerous activity towards Nigeria. We do not support terrorism in whatever form and manner. and we are against it. We are going to fight it. The president has done so well in the fight of banditry today.
Over in Kano State, the governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf, on Friday received the Nigerian conjoined twins, Hassana and Husseina, who returned home after a successful separation surgery in Saudi Arabia. Abdulaziz Ibrahim completes the report.
The twins arrived at Malam Aminu Kano International Airport with their parents and were welcomed by government officials and the representatives of the Consulate of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in Kano. Hassana and Husseina were flown to Riyadh in October 2023, where doctors at the King Abdullah Specialist Children's Hospital carried out a 14-hour surgery in 9 stages. The twins were joined at the lower abdomen, pelvis and spine, a case doctors described as complex. But after careful planning, a team of 38 specialists, including pediatric surgeons, neurosurgeons and plastic surgeons, successfully separated them. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf thanked the Saudi authorities for the medical support and pledged that the state government will take full responsibility for the girls' welfare, including their education.
The surgery operation was sponsored by His Majesty King Abdulaziz. Today, 2 years after, we are here to receive these 2 twins that were separated. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. On behalf of the good people of Kano State, I seize this opportunity to most humbly thank His Majesty, the King of Saudi Arabia, as well as the Consul General.
For the family of Hassana and Husseina, the journey has been long and uncertain. Today, however, they are grateful to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the government of Kano State.
We pray for Allah's blessings upon the people of Saudi Arabia and for the governor of Kano State. May Allah elevate you as you have taken care of us, and may Allah take care of you.
The Saudi Consul General in Kano, Khalil Ahmed Al-Admawi, said the operation reflects the kingdom's commitment to humanitarian service. He explained that Saudi Arabia, through the King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center, has sponsored the separation of 65 conjoined twins from 25 countries in the past 35 years. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
The National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, in collaboration with the Jigawa State ICT and Digital Economy Agency, has held a sub-national engagement and IT ecosystem development program in Dutse, aimed at strengthening Nigeria's digital economy drive at the state level. The engagement themed creating opportunities, breaking boundaries towards digitization and entrepreneurial evolution, brought together key stakeholders from government, academia, innovation hubs, and the private sector to discuss strategies for harnessing technology in boosting entrepreneurship, youth empowerment, and economic transformation. Here's more.
Governor Umar Namadi, represented by the Director General of Jigawa State ICT and Digital Economy Agency, Muhammad Hassan, reaffirmed his administration's commitment to positioning Jigawa as a hub for innovation and digital enterprise. He said the collaboration with NITDA was timely, noting that the state is already implementing several ICT-driven programs in education, agriculture, healthcare, and public service delivery.
Our focus actually is mainly on how to give digital literacy and capacity building to our society, especially the young people, the women, the young ladies, the people with disabilities, because we want to ensure inclusivity. Everybody shall come on board, and we are here today to hear from what are the policies and what is going on at the central government, that is at the national level, and also to see how we can continue aligning all our policies and our activities with the national government.
The governor explained that the state's ICT and Digital Economy Agency has been working to expand digital literacy programs, promote innovation ecosystems, and support startups in Jigawa. He added that the engagement with NITDA would provide additional platforms for collaboration and knowledge sharing across different sectors.
Officials from NITDA noted that subnational engagement is one of the agency's strategic approaches to ensure that states actively contribute to the implementation of the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy. They stressed that digital transformation cannot be achieved from Abuja alone, but through active partnerships with state governments and local ecosystems.
Basically, what we are here to do is to see how we're going to work with the subnationals in Jigawa's state to see how we can achieve the aspirations of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is the diversification of the economy of the country. That's why we're here.
We are bringing the stakeholders, ICT stakeholders together in this place so that we will now brainstorm, come together, share ideas, collaborate, and ensure that we take the digital economy to the grassroots, so that at the end of the day, we want everybody to be inclusive in this digitalization process that we are doing in this country, Nigeria.
Participants at the event also shared insights on how to bridge the digital divide, support innovation hubs, and encourage private investment in ICT infrastructure. Breakout sessions focus on digital entrepreneurship, innovation financing, and opportunities for young people to participate in Nigeria's growing tech economy.
The essence of this engagement is to get the stakeholders together to sit down and look at the future of ICT and digital economy in the state. It's a collaboration between National Information Technology Development Agency and our local Jigawa State Information Technology Development Agency.
The purpose of this engagement is to harmonize or discuss and harmonize the plan of both the federal and the state, so that even though it is important that the national broadband program has been in existence for quite a time, and Jigawa State needs to key into it. Already some documents were harmonized.
The event concluded with a renewed commitment from both NITDA and the Jigawa State government to continue working together in building an inclusive, innovative, and sustainable digital economy that empowers citizens and drives development.
And business in the United States has called on its allies to impose tariffs on China for its purchase of Russian oil. This as Reuters reported Saturday that the group of 7 nations finance ministers discussed in a call on Friday further sanctions on Russia and possible tariffs on countries that they consider enabling its war in Ukraine. Canadian Finance Minister Francois-Philippe Champagne chaired the G7 meeting, which was held to discuss further measures to increase pressure on Russia to end its war against Ukraine, according to a statement from Canada, the head of the rolling G7 presidency. Reuters reported that the ministers agreed to speed up discussions to use frozen Russian assets to fund Ukraine's defense and discuss a wide range of possible economic measures to increase pressure on Russia, including further sanctions and trade measures such as tariffs and those enabling Russia's war effort. Away from Nigeria, at least 107 people have died after a whaleboat caught fire in the west of the Democratic Republic of Congo, according to an internal government report. The boat, a narrow double-ended open vessel, caught fire on the Congo River near Malenge village in Lukulela territory on Thursday evening, leaving 146 people missing, the Ministry of Social Affairs said in the memo. Rescue teams recovered 209 survivors, several with injuries, after the vessel burned and drifted downstream. The fire also destroyed cargo on board and ignited 15 riverside homes. Search operations continued on Friday with naval personnel and community volunteers combing the banks, while authorities pledged medical care for the injured, assistance to bereaved families, and the repatriation of survivors to their places of origin and destination. It's time for sports with Adini Ajishafe.
Nigeria's duo of Konyisola Ajayi and Israel Kon are through to the semi-finals of men's 100-meter event at the ongoing World Athletics Championship in Tokyo, Japan. Ajayi produced a season and personal best to stop the clock at 9.88 seconds, which is 0.2 seconds off the national record held by Olusoji Shuba to finish second in Heat 1 behind South Africa's Gift Lelela, who clocked 9.87 seconds. Ajayi's timing makes him the third fastest Nigerian sprinter of all time, in the process behind Olusoji Shuba, 9.85 seconds, and Divine Oduduru, 9.86 seconds. Koinsola now holds the record for the most sub-10 seconds clocked by a Nigerian in a single season, having broken the barrier 5 times in 2025. Israel Okon's first major global competition in the senior ranks had him maintain composure all through the race, coasting to win in 10.04 seconds, while Zanel Huiz of Great Britain, who pushed hard in the closing phase to grab the second automatic spot. The men's 100-meter semi-final and final will come up on Saturday at the Japan National Stadium in Tokyo. Meanwhile, Nigeria's only athlete in women's 100-meter, Rosemary Chukwuma, competing in Heat 2, missed out on the qualification into the semi-finals, clocking 11.27 seconds to finish 5th in the race. In the field event, Esebrume and Pristina Ochonogo's journey in long jump ended without fanfare. Both long jumpers failed in their bid to reach the final of the women's event at the World Championship, with Pristina Ochonogo being the first to crumble with a poor leap of 6.05 meters, while Esebrume managed a leap of 3.46 meters to miss out on the final. Nigerian shot put star Chukwuebuka Nekochi missed out on a medal as his 5th place finish in Tokyo equals Nigeria's best result in the men's shot put final on Saturday night. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Achishafe.
That wraps up News Hour tonight on Trust TV. For more of our news programs, documentaries, don't follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. Thank you for joining us tonight on the News Hour. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.